Okay, so you probably felt it right. The buzz around OpenAI's new O series, especially O3. We're hearing claims like genius-level AI. Even Sam Altman amplified that post from Derya Unutmaz on X.
Yeah, that definitely got people talking.
Exactly. So the big question we're tackling today is O3 really that massive leap forward in AI reasoning everyone's making it out to be?
That's exactly what we're going to dig into. We've waded through a ton of material Reddit threads on OpenAI and our ChatGPT Pro, deep dives from the Neuron, Phone Arena, Tech Target, practical stuff from Late Node, even GitHub Docs and DocSpot AI comparisons.
Phew, quite the reading list.
Tell me about it. But yeah, our goal here is to really unpack O3's reasoning abilities. How does it stack up against a 4 Mini, its sibling model? And crucially, how does it compare to the big players like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini?
Because it's easy to get lost in all the hype, isn't it?
Yeah.
We want to cut through that noise for you, our listeners. The idea is to give you a clearer picture, help you figure out which model might actually be the best fit for what you need, whether that's top-tier reasoning, speed, cost savings, or maybe something really specific.
Absolutely. It's about making an informed choice.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah.
This O series, what's the fundamental difference with O3? How does it actually think differently?
Okay, so the core idea behind the O series, and particularly O3, is complex reasoning. That's its main job, unlike something like GPT-4o, which is really optimized for speed, for faster answers.
So O3 is designed to be more thoughtful.
Pretty much. It uses something called simulated reasoning. Now, this isn't just the chain of thought we've heard about before. It's a step beyond that.
How so?
Well, O3 essentially pauses. It reflects on its own internal thought process before it actually gives you a response. It's simulating a more, well, human-like way of thinking things through.
Interesting. Like it's double-checking its logic internally.
Something like that, yeah. It scrutinizes its reasoning pathway. And that ties into this term agentic ChatGPT that's been associated with O3.
Right, I've seen that. What does agentic actually mean in practice? What can it do?
It's a big deal. Agentic means O3 can autonomously use different tools to solve complex problems that have multiple steps. It's not just answering one question, it's figuring out a plan and using tools to execute it.
Okay, so it's like an AI assistant that can actually go and do things, not just talk about them.
Yeah.
What kinds of tools does it have access to?
It's got a pretty powerful toolkit. It can use web search for up-to-date info. It has a Python code interpreter.
So it can run code, like for data analysis.
Exactly. Think of it like having a mini data scientist built in. It can also analyze files you upload, understand the content, and even generate images.
Wow. Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's say you ask it to compare California's expected energy use this summer to last summer and forecast demand. O3 could, on its own, search for the latest energy grid data, write Python code to analyze that data, maybe generate a chart showing the forecast, and then explain its findings. It manages that whole workflow.
That's definitely a step up. And what about this idea of thinking with images? You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, that's another key advancement in both O3 and O4 Mini. They can directly process and reason about visual information. We're not just talking basic image recognition here.
Okay.
They can understand complex diagrams, blurry photos, even sketches you draw. That visual input becomes part of their reasoning process. They can even manipulate the images, rotate them, zoom in, crop whatever helps them figure out the visual aspect of a problem.
So I gave it a complex flow chart. It could actually analyze the steps and explain the process.
Precisely. The image isn't just decoration, it's data it can actively reason with. And for coders, there's this thing called Codex CLI.
Codex CLI.
Yeah, it's an open source tool, basically a coding agent built on O3's reasoning. It can take multimodal input, like a screenshot of some buggy code, and help fix it. It runs in a sandbox, and you can set permissions like just suggest changes, automatically edit, or even full auto mode.
Okay, the capabilities sound really impressive, very cutting edge. But how does this translate into actual performance? Do you have hard numbers, benchmarks?
We do, and O3 scores are, frankly, quite strong. On Codeforces, which ranks competitive programmers, its ELO rating is about 2706. That's international grandmaster territory, elite level.
Wow. Yeah.
On SW Bench Verified, which tests fixing real software bugs, it gets 69.1%. And in math, it scored 91.6% on the ME 2025 competition problems and 83.3% on GPQA Diamond. That's a benchmark with PhD-level science questions.
Those are seriously high scores. How does that stack up against, say, the previous model, O1?
It's a significant jump. O1's Codeforce's ELO was around 1891 expert level, good but not grandmaster. Its SW bench was 48.9%, and AIB 2024 was 74.3%.
Big improvements across the board.
Definitely. And OpenAI claims O3 achieves this better performance using less compute than O1.
Better and more efficient, that's the dream, right?
Pretty much.
Okay, so that's O3, the reasoning powerhouse. Let's pivot to O4 Mini. Similar name, but what's its focus? What's its niche?
Right, O4 Mini is positioned as the faster, more cost-effective option. It's built for strong reasoning, but with an emphasis on speed and lower cost per query. Think high-volume tasks.
So still smart, but optimized differently.
Exactly, and don't let the Mini fool you. Its benchmarks are also very competitive. On AIME 2024, it actually scored 93.4%, slightly better than O3's 2024 score, and 92.7% on AIME 2025. Its Sturry bench is 68.1%, really close to O3, and GPQA Diamond is 81.4%.
Wait, O4 Mini beat O3 on one of the math benchmarks?
On the 2024 version, yeah. It's also reported to be better than the older O3 Mini and is actually top-ranked overall on the AIM benchmarks.
Interesting. So what would you choose a 4 Mini over O3?
Primarily when you need to run a lot of tasks where throughput matters and cost is a major factor. O4 Mini has higher usage limits and is significantly cheaper. Plus, you can try it in the free tier of ChatGPT using the Think option, and it's part of GitHub Copilot Chat, so it's quite accessible.
Okay, let's talk cost, because that's always huge. How big is the difference?
It's substantial. O4 Mini costs $1 for input for 1 million input tokens and $4.40 for 1 million output tokens. Compare that to O3, which is $10 for input and $40 for output per million tokens.
Wow, that's nearly a tenfold difference on the input side and even more on output.
Exactly. And then you have GPT-4 Mini, which is even cheaper at 0.15 cent input and 0.60 cents output per million tokens. Though its reasoning focus might be different, it really highlights the trade-off. Top-tier reasoning with O3 comes at a premium price.
So the choice really hinges on that balance.
Yeah.
Ultimate reasoning power versus speed and cost.
Got it. Any other key differences between O3 and 4 Mini we should know about? Context window size is 1. Both O3 Mini and a 4 Mini handle 200,000 tokens. That's a lot, but it's less than GPT 4.1's million token window, which might matter for really long documents or conversations.
Right, context size is crucial for some tasks.
And there was one evaluation suggesting a 4 Mini, the high reasoning version, was slightly more token efficient than O3 Mini High, meaning it might use fewer tokens to get a similar result, which again ties back to cost.
Okay, makes sense. So we have O3 for deep reasoning, O4 Mini for speed and value within OpenAI. Now, how do they fare against the competition, ChatGPT itself, Claude, Gemini? Let's revisit those genius claims.
Right, this is where it gets murky. The genius idea got a boost from that Mensa Norway IQ test report O3, apparently scoring around 136 neck and neck with Gemini 2.5. And artificial analysis put O4 Mini at the top of their intelligence index with a score of 70, just beating Gemini 2.5 Pro Preview 68 and Grok 3 Mini Reasoning 67, especially in coding.
So some metrics put them at the very top. But there are counter-arguments, right?
Definitely. AI Explained, for instance, pushes back hard on the Genius or AGI label for either model. They point to things like the bridge test, a simple spatial reasoning problem O3 apparently struggled with, suggesting a lack of basic common sense.
Ah, the classic benchmark versus real-world understanding issue.
Exactly. And they also mention that hallucinations, while maybe reduced, are still a thing. Plus, the cost factor compared to Gemini 2.5 Pro keeps coming up. Gemini being potentially 3 to 4 times cheaper and offering things like direct YouTube video processing, which O3 doesn't do yet.
That cost and feature difference with Gemini is significant.
It really is. There's also some speculation, that the initial O3 results that generated so much hype might have been from versions run with way more compute time than the public API versions get. Kind of benchmark optimization.
Ah, okay. Like a special race tune versus the street version.
Something like that. In one head-to-head test, a blind comparison using 9 different prompts. Neither O3 nor Gemini 2.5 clearly dominated. O3 seemed better at being concise, precise for business tasks, elegant language, visual organization. Gemini 2.5 showed strengths in technical depth, offering complete solutions, exploring multiple options, and structured learning formats.
So horses for courses, really. Depends on the task.
Pretty much. And Grok 3 was mentioned as being very fast, but maybe not quite as capable in reasoning as the others yet. The field is incredibly tight.
It certainly seems that way. Now, another big feature announced was memory. How does that work in O3 and a 4 Mini?
Yeah, memory is a potentially huge step for making conversations feel more natural and personalized. Both models can now supposedly use your chat history and maybe other info to maintain context over time.
So it remembers what you talked about before.
That's the idea. There are reports on Reddit from users saying O3 referenced things from earlier in their chats, which was helpful. But there's a caveat. This memory capability could also increase the risk of hallucinations, where the AI might misremember details or connect unrelated past information incorrectly. So, powerful, but needs watching.
Right, more power, more potential pitfalls. Makes sense. What about safety? These models are getting more capable. Are the safety features keeping pace?
OpenAI says they've implemented a new technique called deliberative alignment. The idea is the model uses its own reasoning skills to check if a request is safe based on safety rules OpenAI has set. It's supposed to be better at blocking harmful stuff without wrongly blocking safe requests.
So it reasons about safety itself.
That's the concept. They also did internal safety tests using their preparedness framework, and apparently both models scored below the high-risk level for scary stuff like biothreats, cyber attacks, or the AI trying to rapidly self-improve.
Okay, that's reassuring.
However, some external researchers, like Transluce AI, did raise potential concerns about O3 sometimes making up actions it took or giving false justifications. So safety is clearly still an active area of work and scrutiny.
An ongoing challenge, for sure. So, just to confirm availability, if I'm a paying ChatGPT user, I can use these now.
Yes, as of April 16th, 2025, if you're on Plus, Pro, or Team plans, O3 and O4 Mini, including that higher reasoning variant, should be available options for you, replacing the older O1 and O3 Mini. Free users can try a 4 Mini via the Think option, and developers have API access.
And there's an O3 Pro coming.
Yeah, OpenAI mentioned an upcoming O3 Pro for Pro users that will have full tool support enabled, presumably offering even more agentic capabilities.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Our deep dive suggests O3 is definitely a big step in AI reasoning, especially with its tool use and multimodal skills. But that genius label may be a bit premature, especially given common sense gaps and strong competition like Gemini.
I agree, it's impressive, but maybe not quite the paradigm shift some headlines suggested. And the trade-off between O3's power and O4 Mini's speed and cost is really clear.
The key takeaway seems to be there's no single best model. It really depends on your specific needs, the complexity of the task, your budget, how fast you need answers.
Exactly right. You need to weigh those factors carefully.
So here's something to leave you, our listeners, thinking about. As AI gets better at reasoning and using tools, what kinds of tasks, maybe things I couldn't even imagine an AI doing before, might become normal in our work or daily lives soon? Think beyond just chatbots. What could a truly reasoning AI unlock?
That's a great question. It pushes us to think about the ripple effects, how this technology could fundamentally change problem solving and maybe even creativity in ways we're just starting to explore. It's definitely an exciting and perhaps slightly unnerving time to be watching this space.
Absolutely. We definitely encourage you to try these models if you can, see how they feel for your use cases. Keep following the developments. Things are moving incredibly fast. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.